Hi everyone, this is Penny once again. And today I have a special guest. All my guests are special, especially this one. He was top of the list. Forrest from Canada. Forrest and I go a long way back since 2014 when I first attended BTS, Breakthrough to Success, and he was part of the assisting team. And I can't forget Forrest because of Forrest, believe me this, believe this, because of the hugs. So in Jack Canfield's programs, we give hugs to one another. And Forrest is about 6 feet. I don't know what. He's very tall, and I'm very short. And he would really find a way to hug me that I feel I wasn't looking up, but I was really feeling the love and the joy inside me. So Forrest Willett from Canada. So Forrest, can you introduce yourself, please?
Thank you, Penny. I'm so grateful to be here with you today and sending you big hugs.
Yes, the big hugs. Yes.
Yes,
So Forrest, I remember you came to the Philippines.
yes. It was one of the most beautiful things in my life that I remember was coming to the Philippines and Manila and Cebu and speaking there to all the beautiful people. Everyone there is so beautiful and loving. Uh, I just felt at home there. It was amazing.
I know that Forrest touched one life, at least realistically, not realistically, really touched one life, and that person is now a TTT trainer as well. Did you see that?
Excellent.
Yeah. Uh,
Yes.
Forrest, how is it like where are you in Canada?
We are 2 hours north of Toronto right now. So what's going on now is the stores are starting to shut down, and it's only happened in the last a week where they're starting to close stores and warn people to have groups of less than 5 people where we are right now. Last week it was 50 people. Now there's no more groups than 5 people allowed.
Oh, so you're not completely locked down.
Not yet. No, no. Um, in our town that I know of, there's no cases as of today, right now. In Toronto, there are many.
You are in tiny, what's it?
Tiny, Ontario.
So
Yeah, the thing is called Tiny. Yes.
it's called tiny.
Yeah.
The big man in tiny.
Yes.
So what keeps you busy now? Because I know that you are also doing a lot of talks and podcasts and motivational speeches. So what keeps you busy now?
So right now, I'm volunteering a lot. The, there's been many talks that have been canceled over the last 3 weeks. As upcoming, I had one in British Columbia, New York, and also here in Ontario. They've all been canceled in the upcoming weeks because of what's going on right now, which is understandable, and I'm happy to stay home. And so right now I've just been doing some volunteering. We've been making extra meals. My neighbors, Heather and Toner, they're beautiful people, and we've all together been making extra meals for people and delivering meals to people's doorsteps who can't get out or who do not have the money to buy food if they're out of work.
Wow. Y- y- how what made you have that idea? I know Forrest, you've been a loving and a dear person. What made you start that?
Well, I know what it's like to be hungry. I grew up in a very low-income house, a very abusive house growing up. And so I know what it's like to be a child being hungry. So I first put it out there on Facebook that if there's anybody who maybe their children is missing out on breakfast that they're used to getting in school, because here we have a program where children get breakfast in school. So I offered, if anyone feels that they're missing out on a meal or breakfast, I will deliver food to them, whether it's cereal, bananas, a gallon of milk.
Wow.
And we started doing that. And then local people that we just know that need a hand up, not a handout.
Mm-hmm. So
So it's,
you were saying your neighbors are doing the same thing, helping you?
yes, yeah,
So
beautiful.
you started a crusade.
Yes, yeah,
So
and
how?
you know,
Mhm.
it's
Go
really
ahead.
interesting that when you give of yourself, uh, the depression and the bad thoughts go away. And when you're focused only on yourself, me, I know that from when I went through depression, that the depression was the greatest expression of an ego, where it was only me,
Mhm.
my problems, my poor me. That's when the depression was the worst. So when I focused on others, on giving to others and helping others, the depression lifted. And it's an amazing thing that happens when you give to others. You not only lift the spirits of others, but you lift your own spirit.
I'm wondering. You mentioned you underwent depression. Um, and this is a question because many people say that in this generation that they feel depressed because of this overwhelmed depressed. How how do you detect depression if you know?
Oh, I do know. Last winter, I started feeling these same symptoms where I wanted to isolate myself, where you think, oh, just leave me alone. I'll be okay. Leave me alone for another few days. And you just want to lay in bed, or you have no energy. You don't want to do anything. You don't want to associate with people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know those symptoms instantly. As I feel them, I think I know what I need to do to get out of this. And that's the opposite. I need to get out and interact with people, to socialize like we are right now, whether it's through Skype or Zoom or yelling to your neighbor across the street.
Mm-hmm.
And then also physical exercise. Get out and walk. Get out in the sunshine when you can. Because these are symptoms that a lot of us deny. And you say, oh, I'm not really depressed, but just give me a few weeks and I'll be back to myself. And it's denial. You're in denial, and you just sometimes keep going deeper and deeper down into a depression, where it gets to the point where you don't want to leave the house. And I've been in that position before. So now I know that once I start feeling those symptoms, it's time to get up, get outside, talk to a neighbor, phone somebody, pick up the phone and speak to someone, or take the dog for a walk.
Mm-hmm. I thank you for sharing that because people may feel that kind of feeling and they don't know how to respond to that kind of feeling. And that's sad. It's hard.
It is sad, and it's hard to talk about it. And it was hard for me. I went through it for about 5 years on depression medications, anxiety medications, sleeping pills. And then once I was able to get into this routine where I know the things that stopped those feelings, I was able to get off all medication. So each morning I make sure I walk for a minimum of 45 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
get out in the sunshine whenever it's sunny, socially interact with people every day. Those things will get you out of
Mm-hmm.
the feeling and the rut that you're in.
Okay. So for people who are watching this conversation, what Forrest said is acknowledge the feeling, but do something about it.
Absolutely, yeah. I feel bad, and this does not feel good right now, yet I can get out of it. And so many times it's embarrassing for people to admit what you're feeling, to say, I'm depressed, but do you think I could talk to you? I've reached out to you before, Penny. when I was going through problems, and you were there and more than willing to talk to me. And I'm grateful for that. And that's all it is asking someone,
Yes.
can I speak to you? And all it takes is one person to speak to get you out of that rut.
And you did the same thing for me. I remember having posted in Facebook, I'm sad. Just that. I'm sad. And here you are calling me. What's wrong?
Yes.
Surprised. All the way from Canada calling me to find out what's wrong, Penny. I just posted I'm sad. So people around the world are with us, at least with us now, feeling all the connections. And I think with this, what's happening around globally, it's also bringing back those connections.
Yes, it is. And it's letting people know you're not alone.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's not like the old days where you had to take a pen and paper and write a letter and mail it and wait for it to come back. You have instant connection now. So there's no excuse not to be able to connect with people.
Exactly. So what if you reach out to people and people say no? That makes it even more difficult for you. For me, when I ask somebody and that person says no, I will feel rejected.
You may feel rejected, but if you look at it different ways, that you may say, rather than saying somebody said no to me, they must not love me, you could say someone who loves me doesn't have time to talk to me today. Maybe they will tomorrow.
Oh,
And the other thing is, maybe they're going through something and they're feeling so bad that they don't want to talk. Because I've been in that position before where I would have said, sorry, Penny, I don't want to talk.
mm-hmm.
But what's happening is there's something going on with me. It's nothing to do with you. It's inside of me that I feel that, wow, I just don't feel up to speaking to Penny right now. Maybe she won't accept me.
Okay.
So I would encourage people who have people that say, no, I don't have time to talk right now, to keep reaching out to those people.
Okay, because they might need help as well.
Absolutely. And once you hear someone's story, there's no one in the world that you would not fall in love with once you hear their story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. Because I know your story. You're very life-changing stories. Many of those. Not enough for this conversation. It's a whole book. It's your book.
Yes.
Okay. So how do you then give hope to people on the streets who have lost their jobs? I've seen in the news just unemployment is rising all over the world. It's global recession. We know what we need to do because we have been taught the success principles, but others don't. How do we give hope? How do you give hope?
I would let people know everything will work out. In the end, it has so far in your life. We've survived everything, all this trauma, all the problems that we've had in our lives. We've always survived them, and you will continue to survive them. And I also ask people to say, well, what good could come of this? You know, I have a friend that sells real estate, and they think, oh, the sky is falling. Well, I say, well, what can you do to make things better? You know, you could do virtual tours
Mm-hmm.
through the home yourself with a video camera and do a tour. I have another friend that has a gravel pit company, and they sell topsoil and things for people's gardens. Well, they can deliver them now. Rather than waiting for people to come pick things up, okay, we'll deliver them. You know, what can we do to increase our business and increase our lives and the way we live? Think of the good things that can come of this.
And yes, think of the good things.
Also, the people that, there is many people that unfortunately have lost their jobs and they're in a financial bind. Let them know they're not alone. And so often we keep things to ourselves and we don't want to talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
We're private, especially around financial situations where people might say, well, I can't make my rent payment or my mortgage or my car payments. People are very private around that. But if they looked around, they'd realize that 90% of the other people around them are in the same situation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
that, you're beating yourself up, but you're not alone. So don't go through it alone. Speak to people, speak to the bank lender and say, could you give me a few months to make these payments?
Ask, right?
Ask, exactly. The people will be helpful if you let them know and keep people informed.
Yes. Yes. Reach out to people and keep them informed, and as you said, realize that you're not alone.
That's right. And the problem won't go away by not talking about it.
So it's really, from what I understand from you, it's really reaching out to people. Uh, Many of us are in the same situation. You had speaking engagement that were canceled. I had mine as well. We're we're still up and about
Yes.
because it's the response that we choose in a situation like this.
Yes.
That's why we're having this meaningful conversation.
Yeah, that's right. And, you could look at it one way where I could say, oh my God, there's thousands of dollars now that are not coming in. Or I can say, well, how can I help others right now and be positive about it? And I'm happy to be home. I'm happy to be speaking to you. And life is good.
And I'm happy that you said yes. I was
Well,
waiting for you to say yes.
I'm happy too, Penny. Thank you.
One thing I can't forget about Forrest, and this I'm sure you know, is when we went to Cebu, we were sitting at the edge of that what I don't remember,
Yes.
the cliff, and I was so scared because I'm afraid of heights. And you said, "Come, sit here, join us here." And you said, I can't forget what you said. You'll be safe, trust me.
Yes. Don't
And
worry, Penny. You'll overcome your fear. You will be safe.
yes,
Nothing bad will happen. And it was true.
and that's what I did because of you.
Well, thank you.
And because of you. I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have taken the courage. But you gave me that courage to go outside my comfort zone, even though it's just stepping outside that barrier to go right there at the edge of the cliff. So it's not that scary because I felt the fear of falling, but
Yeah.
fear is fantasized experience appearing real. I did not fall. I'm still here. So thank you once again, Forrest.
Thank you, Penny. And there's so many of your viewers right now that may feel that they're going to fall,
Yep.
but they're not. The reality is they're not going to fall. And their fear is something that's in the future
Mm-hmm.
that hasn't happened yet,
Yes.
where they think they may fall, either financially or emotionally. Yet if they have the courage to speak up and say to somebody, would you talk to me about this? This is how I'm feeling. It can take all of that away.
Mm-hmm. So all they need to do is reach out to somebody.
Reach out and speak to somebody, whether it's your bank manager, your neighbor. If you're sad, if you're in a financial predicament, you could reach out to the bank manager or loan manager and say, things are tight right now. I need some help.
Mm-hmm.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
Okay. don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's right.
Yep, people are willing to help at this time of crisis.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Okay, Forrest, any last advice that you'd like to give to our friends?
I would say love each other and have compassion for people. You know, some people may be upset if you walk by them on the street, or they may be in a bad mood. Give them your time and love one another.
Okay. And that's the Forrest I know. Very
Yeah.
loving, very compassionate, and very giving. So thank you once again, Forrest, for spending some time with me on your evening, my morning. And I hope to see you next year. I hope.
Oh, I really hope so, that I'm back in the Philippines, and I would love to bring you here to Canada.
Is it still snowing in Canada?
No, it ended. I would say the last time it snowed was about 4 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
So we think we're out of it now because the temperatures are rising.
Okay.
So
Mm-hmm.
things are looking up.
Here it's summer, so it's warm
Yeah,
summer.
we're hoping
And
for.
yeah, it's summer. And school is completely shut down, so very, very difficult for us teachers.
Yes.
Anyways, thank you again, once again, for spending your evening with me. And tell Julie she can bring the dog in already. and
Yeah.
and I look forward to seeing you back here in Manila.
I am also. Thank you, and sending love to everyone in the Philippines. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye. Take care and stay safe.
Yes, thank you. You also.
Okay.